have this beautiful memory of when our choir sang the Brahms Requiem over at the Immaculate Heart of Mary, the big Catholic church right down Briarcliff Road. It was a fundraiser for Atlanta Hospice, and so Immaculate Heart of Mary gave us the space to rehearse in and to perform in for free. At our rehearsal, the music director of IHM came in and watched the second half. And when it was over, he pulled me aside with this wild look in his eyes, and he said, "This is your choir?" Yes. From the tiny Unitarian church down the street? Tiny in comparison to a big cathedral, but yeah, you know. And then he said, "How do you get them to come to rehearsal?" I didn't know what he meant. And he said, and I'm serious, "I have this little tiny group of people who show up at rehearsal on Wednesdays and Sunday mornings because if they don't, they go to hell." I didn't have a lot to say to that. I said something to the point of, well, you know, we work really hard and we have a good time doing it. I think he already knew that we don't believe in hell. I've been at this congregation for a while now, and long enough to see people who I know will be connected to this place for the rest of their lives. Long enough to see people I thought would be here for the rest of their lives prove me wrong. Long enough to see many individuals and families go through a season of their lives where UUCA was central, and then move away, and then come back. I've known hundreds of congregants who attended Sunday services every Sunday for years, and then we don't see them again. So what makes people stick? Choir, raise your hand if you've been in the choir for a decade or more. Oh, it's not done yet. 2 decades or more. 3 decades or more. 4 decades or more. Yeah, those 3, it's great. I know, it's incredible. So, a major factor in how long people attend UUCA is whether they make this congregation their third place. Right, the term third place was coined by urban sociologist Ray Oldenburg, who argues that third places are important for civil society, democracy, civic engagement, and establishing feelings of a sense of belonging. We've all heard about the loneliness epidemic. It's everywhere. In 1990, around a quarter of US residents said they had 3 or fewer close friends. In 2021, it was 49%. Half of all people in the United States have 3 or fewer close friends. When I graduated from high school 22 years ago, you can do the math, youth and young adults averaged 150 minutes a day of in-person time with their friends. Today, youth and young adults average 40 minutes of time with their friends. That's a 70% decrease in 2 decades. And for those of us who are, let's say, less young adults, I know for me it's less than 40 minutes a day. We've moved so much of the time we used to spend in community to the internet or just to more work. The pandemic, of course, made it worse. It seems like many of us have forgotten how to have normal, kind, civil interactions with people with whom we disagree. Moving all interaction to the computer has also made people more siloed in their beliefs and therefore much more easy to manipulate. We need to seek out time to be with other humans. Sometimes it's to work on things to better the community, to tend the nets, whatever that looks like in your life. But other times, it's just to play. Do you remember being a kid? When I was a little kid, I had like the 3 friends on my street that I would call always in the same order, and just say, "Hey, do you want to go out and play?" Right? It wasn't, "Do you want to go solve this problem? Do you want to go see this movie?" It was, "Do you want to just go play?" So to me, choir rehearsal is play. Yes, we work, and we learn, and we strive, and we create, but it's a playful space. A playful rehearsal does a lot for us, right? It takes away some of the fear of making mistakes that is ever present in our lives. You aren't afraid when you're playing in a sandbox, right? You build something, it falls over, oh well, build another thing, right? If you make a mistake in rehearsal, oh well, you just try again. When I work with professional singers, it's great for a lot of reasons, but most of the time it's just less playful, and therefore for me, less fulfilling. I named this service Where Everybody Knows Your Name, even realizing that I'm on the very young end of people who will get the reference to Cheers, a television show that ran for 11 seasons. It did start before I was born. It takes place almost entirely in a third place, in Cheers, in that bar. So where do we find that third place, that place for connection and play? Is it a bar, like in Cheers or How I Met Your Mother? Nowadays, bars are just too loud, right? And expensive. Is it the coffee shop, like in Friends? The diner in Gilmore Girls? The meth lab in Breaking Bad? No, don't do that one. That's not it. That's a bad example. I'm sure it's no surprise that I want your answer to be here, to be the UU congregation of Atlanta. Sometimes when working with any choir, I like to admit to the lies that choir directors have been telling for generations. They would say things like, "You need to breathe just as much to sing softly as you do to sing loud." That's a lie, but it's a nice idea, right? There's a germination of an idea there. You want to take a really big breath when you sing softly too, and so it's a good, helpful lie. Where everybody knows your name, it's a great theme and a great sentiment, and it's also a nice lie, right? In the scheme of church in Atlanta, we're kind of a medium, small congregation, but in Unitarian Universalism, we are still a large congregation. Being a large congregation has incredible advantages, right? We may be understaffed, but the staff we have is incredible. The staff we have is unreal at this place. Yeah. Super talented. We have our services in this beautiful new room where things can happen like this. Right? It's amazing, right? So fun, right? George Macon over there. Thanks, George. Our facilities are big. We can host large groups. We have this Soul Summit coming up next week. On Friday night, there's going to be a concert. If you remember B. Renee, she's played here many times. She's doing a concert Friday night. You should come. We haven't put a thing out yet, but we will. But more than anything, our advantage as a large congregation is that our worship is amazing. Right? I don't think there's another congregation in our whole faith tradition that puts on services as powerful, meaningful, unique, varied, and consistently excellent as we do at UUCA. Yes. So people who come here just on Sunday morning, they get a lot. We put so much of our attention and effort into Sunday mornings because we know it's where we're going to see the most people and hopefully change the most lives. And the people who only ever cross the threshold on Sunday morning, well, they might stay. People that connect, who join a covenant group, a social group, who teach RE, who sing in the choir, who find their congregation in our large congregation, they stay a whole lot longer. They put more effort into tending the nets, into tending this garden, because they know what it means to them, and they want it to mean something similar to their fellow congregants and those who have yet to walk through our doors, but yearn for the soul-healing, soul-filling, life-affirming messages of Unitarian Universalism. Author Michael Pollan writes, "The single greatest lesson the garden teaches is that our relationship to the planet need not be zero-sum. And that as long as the sun still shines and people can still plan and plant, think and do, we can, if we bother to try, find ways to provide for ourselves without diminishing the world." Pollan is speaking about literal planting, but it speaks to me as a metaphor for a community. One of my favorite things that happens every week at UUCA is a ukulele sing-along group that happens right here on Tuesday afternoons. I'm serious. People getting together, they bring an instrument or sing, and they're making music not for performance, but for play. It makes me so happy every single time I walk by, and I want more of that here, right? Musical, yes. We're restarting our coffee house. 2 weeks from yesterday, Brooksy Wells here is going to be hosting it. And I want that to be a place for community to get together, to engage with each other, to enjoy each other, and to make music for each other. UU Moves, led by Elizabeth Field. They continue to do such beautiful dances that make our services better, and they enjoy that time, that group. I want more of this. I want UUCA groups getting together to make music for fun, just because it's great. And if music isn't your bag, I'm sorry. No, if music isn't your bag, what about board games, or card games, or knitting, or painting, or cooking, or dance parties, or a bunch of other things that I haven't thought of? Things that can be congregant-led and invitational to everyone. You should dive into the abundance, the fount of abundance that is the UU Congregation of Atlanta. Join the choir, teach RE, take part in Radical Welcome, join a covenant group, and importantly, if you try a thing and it's not for you, try something else, right? This is a place of multitudes, but not of perfection. Here, you will sit down at a banquet table with many dishes, every one of them heavily seasoned, right? That seasoning might change your life, or it may not be for you, but that is also a strength. We do not boil our faith down into something palatable for everyone. We will not serve you unseasoned spirituality because it is easier to swallow. This is a diverse place of belonging, and that diversity, it might mean a little more conflict sometimes, but it means loving resolutions. It might mean a little discomfort sometimes, followed by growth. This is not a place where everyone is going to know your name, but we have communities within communities within communities where you can, and more than that, you should, find people who will see you and know you and play and grow with you. If you choose to only experience Sunday mornings here, you are welcome. Come on. You're going to hear great sermons, great stories, great music, great readings. Your week will be better every single time you come. Agreed? Yes, right? There is real beauty in just drifting here with our ship's companions, right? Looking around this room, seeing people who also believe deeply in a world where differences are cherished and encouraged. People who see working for justice, equity, and equality as more important than the existence of or what we name a higher power. That is beautiful. Amen. But you are invited to go a little deeper. As we continue to drift through space on a big, beautiful, misshapen marble, I hope you will see UUCA both as a place to come on Sunday mornings, to be inspired, to be challenged, and feel your feelings, and as a place to find your people. Your people with diverse backgrounds, races, ages, sexual orientations, gender expressions, a place where you can throw away the capitalist myth that we work so we can recover and then work again. Right? Time is a non-renewable resource, and you should spend it. Right? Spend your time enriching your life here. Find that third place inside this large community where everyone, well, they might know your name. They will definitely be glad you came, where you can see and cherish that people are not the same, and that is the strength of the community we build together.